So now we're moving on to the other tabs. This is intentionally left blank. This just means that all of the input tabs are to the right of this one. So it's basically a header for the rest of the tabs. So this is our first tab that we're going to be working with. It's the revenue build input tab. And it looks a little bit overwhelming, but it's not that bad. And the revenue build is just summarizing your business's revenue streams and how many users that you're going to be having. And before you actually dive into building this one out, you need to do an exercise first to build out your revenue model for your own business before you can actually go ahead and fill in those numbers here. So your revenue model, if you're not familiar with how to do this, you could reference my previous article on how to monetize your business. So I walk through everything there about thinking about if you're going to have a premium model, a free model, or a freemium model, and different revenue streams on different use cases that you could have with your own business and how to really monetize it. So before you dive into this, reference that article if you haven't put together your own model for your business yet. But if you have, then we can run through this. Something else to keep in mind is that as you're going through these spreadsheets, I built them out and they're more catered towards web-based companies because the company that I have is a web-based company. It's purely online. But if you do have more of a product consumer-based company, then you can use this template, but just make sure that you're modifying things to be more in line with what your business does. For example, if you have products, you can add those products as a revenue stream versus in-app purchases or some sort of premium service subscription that they're buying on your website. So just keep that in mind. The template is really like a general purpose standard template, and I really want anyone to be able to use it, but just make sure that you're using it correctly for the type of business that you have. Okay, so let's get started here. We'll go from top down. So this is sourcing from the first general tab where we input the fiscal year for the start month and year. And it's showing you that the start month is July 2018 and then it ends in June of 2019. And throughout this entire spreadsheet, we're forecasting for the next 5 years, so all the way out to 2024. And as you go down on this list, we have the user growth here. So this is the first section. User growth takes in your new users. So everything in orange on the input tab, remember you can edit it. So in the new users, the first year you have to put in something here. And then the following years, you're just going to be updating the user growth percentages all the way across. So this year, let's say we start off with 1,000 users. We don't have any cancels. And the start month for accruing users is going to be in July and of that same year. Make sure if you're updating this to a different month, it has to be within this fiscal year or else it's not going to work correctly. And then let's say we're only accruing users for 3 months out of the year. So again, if you are a seasonal business, if you have a website where you're only really accruing users at certain points in the year, then you want to update this to be how many months out of the year that you're accruing. If you aren't having a seasonal business and you're accruing users throughout the entire year, then update this to be 12 months. Okay, so for the following years, I just went ahead and I added in the percentage growth for each year. So if you make it 500%, your new users would then be 6,000, and then your total users would be 7,000, and so on and so forth. Okay, so the next section down here, these are your active users. So if you have a premium model, this doesn't really matter for you because all of your users that are on your website are going to be paying users. However, if you have a free or freemium model, free models, it doesn't matter as much because your website is mostly free, except for the advertisements, which really it would take into account this active users number. Maybe not every user that comes to your site is an active user. So you're really going to be earning a lot of your money from ads off of this user base. And then especially for freemium models where you have a mix of ads, maybe you have in-app purchases, you can have some sort of subscription service for more premium aspects of your website. You definitely want to base all of those projections off of the active users, not the total users. Because you could have 1,000 users, but if none of them are paying, then you're not really going to be making any money. Okay. So here we're just giving it an estimate that 85% of our users are going to be active right off the bat. And then we're just projecting the numbers every year after that. And then down here in the revenue streams. Now this is where your revenue model comes in handy. You want to understand all the different ways that your business is making money. So the first revenue stream, and this just gives different examples, right? There's a lot of different use cases. There's just different things that you can do to make money with your own business. You can get creative. Again, if you want some ideas, you can reference my article on how to monetize your business. But for this one, I gave 3 different examples. And you can remove these or add to them whatever you want. Make sure that you're keeping the formulas consistent though. If you change one, you have to change them all over here. So this first one is a service. So let's say you have a freemium model business and users can sign up for free, but then there's things within the website that they can pay a premium for. Let's take our company, or my company, for example, Moonlight, which is a fantasy soccer website. And we have a freemium business, but we are going to have a service that we're charging people a premium for. So you can sign up for our website for free, but then if you want additional data and stats on your players and you want player projections, then you're going to pay a premium for this feature that we're offering in our website. And we're estimating here that 20% of active users are going to be purchasing this in the first year. So this is this number, not all users, just the people who are actively using the site, there's a higher probability that they would actually buy something like this. And then let's say we're charging $5 monthly for something like this. And the start month for the service starts in 2018, and it's going to be for 9 months out of the year. Again, if you have a seasonal business, you might want to update this, but keep in mind if you're updating the start month, that it falls in between this fiscal year. You don't want it to start in, July of 2019 because that would not work. Okay, so your in-app purchases. This is if you have something within your app that your users can purchase, but it is a one-time purchase, and it can expire after that use. If they use it once, it can expire, or after multiple uses, it can expire, and they can go back and repurchase or make additional purchases. So this is a one-time thing. It's not a subscription. And we're saying that a lot of times, like games and video games, like they'll have like bonuses or power boosters or power ups or something. If you think about Candy Crush, they have a lot of in-app purchases where you can get more points or little fun things that help you in the game. So we're saying here that 10% of our active users are going to purchase in-app purchases, and that means that we have 85 users in the first year that are doing this. And we're saying that they're going to make 10 purchases a year. These 85 people will make 10 purchases a year of this in-app purchase. And the start month for users that are going to purchase the packs is September. And they're going to be purchasing them over a 9-month period. And the price of the pack is going to be $1 per pack. Because it is something that expires or it's a one-time use kind of thing, you don't want to price it too high. So that way, you get high amounts of volume here. That's the real key. Like, you want a lot of people to buy these things and not really think much about it because it's not that expensive. So it's a quick win for you and for them. And then your total revenue is down here. And then lastly, these are the advertisements. So advertisements are a little bit tricky. And this is really, CPM is cost per thousand. As you can see, I have these over here, these instructions. And that it's cost per thousand. So this means that you would earn, in this example, $10 for every 1,000 impressions. Actually, I'm going to change that up here. $10 for every 1,000 impressions. Yeah. And let's say we have 4 impressions per week per user. So this number you have to enter yourself. And the way to come up with this number is to think about how many screens that you have on your website and how many ads you have on those screens. I definitely do not recommend overloading your website with ads. It's going to ruin the user experience and significantly impact your performance. But if you do have some ads on your website and they're not clunky, you want to calculate how many you have and roughly how many impressions per user per week. So this could be taken from your active users. And then also this would calculate how many impressions per month, just multiplying that by 4, giving it a rough average there. And then start month for the active users, and then the number of months per year with active users. And then this gives you the total impressions and then the total revenue for your ads. So in terms of ads, you really don't start earning that much money. You can see over the course of the entire year, we just are earning like $1,200. So you need to have a lot of users on your website to start, for this to start making any difference to your bottom line. So you'll see in the later years, we're actually starting to earn a significant amount of money from this, but upfront, not so much. So maybe you want to hold off on introducing your ads until you actually start getting a lot of users there. So that way you can start gaining users without ruining the experience for them. But these are just some things to keep in mind. So at the bottom here, you just have your total revenue, and everything is calculated. So that is everything for revenues. If you go to the next tab, you don't touch anything on this tab. These are all formulas. Everything that I built is basically taking these numbers and breaking it out into monthly, into monthly statements here. So you'll see all these months that we have forecasted over the 5-year period, and you can expand or collapse these if you want to see them or if you want to get rid of them. But basically, it's just breaking everything out very easily for you, and you can see how much money you're earning month in and month out. Okay, so that's it for revenue. I'm gonna take a break here, and then we'll go on to the CapEx tabs next.